Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the Mighty Morphin Metallic Pink Ranger from the Power Rangers Lightning Collection from Hasbro. So this is a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. I don't believe it's going to be at any other stores, so if you want it, it is on Hasbro Pulse. I believe it's still available. I could be wrong about that, but definitely check out Hasbro Pulse if you're looking for this. So it's the metallic armor versions. I think we all knew this was eventually coming. Having gone all the way through MMPR, and they want to keep it in the pipeline because it is the most popular, I think we all kind of figured it was only a matter of time before they got to the metallic armor versions. Bandai did it back in the day as a way to reuse the molds and distribute the weapons, since they didn't do that the first time because they had the Build-A-Figure pieces. You guys know the story there. Now, originally, I don't usually bother with the metallic armor versions because I already have MMPR Pink and I don't really care about the metallic armors. But when they showed it off, it actually looked kind of good. Plus, it came with a Catherine head, which I thought was a smart thing to do to keep it a little bit different. And spoilers, there is a Zeo Crystal accessory inside as well, which I think is kind of neat. So I figured I'd at least give the first one a try. Don't know if I'm going to do all of them yet. I know I always say that, and I probably will. We'll see how, by the end of this review, how I actually like this figure once I get it out of the box and check it all out. But I had to at least applaud Hasbro for doing something a little different. They gave us the Catherine head. They gave us the Zeo Crystal. This would be a great way to give us an Aisha head for yellow, you know, an Adam head for black. Give us a decent Rocky head for red, because that one that came with the Zeo blue was not very good, to put it kindly. So first of all, we have to take a look at the box. Even the box is glittery, very shiny. The texture, if you rubbed this, I feel like the glitter would kind of come off on your hands. So just be a little careful with that, because it's definitely like just put on top of the packaging. It's not in, there's no finish over top. You can feel the glitter when you rub your hands over it. So a little wary there. But otherwise, I think it looks pretty cool. Very fun packaging. I think it's neat that they went the extra mile to actually glitterify the packaging as well. I kind of love and hate that about the packaging, because like I said, I wish there was a clear coat over it, but I feel like, you know, depending on how you store this, you could end up rubbing half of this off or just finding glitter all over the place one day. We'll see how it works out, but I think the packaging is very fun. I think they did a good job with it. Obviously, it's the artwork you're used to. Looks fantastic. Format with the picture wrapping around the side. Not really too much different as far as the packaging goes, other than that glitter coat. But yeah, pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and get this one out of the box here, and we're going to take a closer look. Here she is out of the packaging, and all of the pink plastic is translucent, which is pretty cool. I have this little light I'm going to bring around so you can see. All the pink is translucent plastic, which is pretty neat. I mean, you can see some of the toy joints and things like that, but there's really no way around that. I still think it's a pretty cool effect. And all the white parts are kind of more of a metallic-y, grayish color, which I think makes total sense. Taking a look at the Catherine head sculpt, I think they did a pretty good job. The more I look at it, the smile is a little unsettling, but I think for the most part it looks pretty good. I do think it's funny though, I feel like in the press shots her hair was a lot more bright yellow, and I guess this is a more natural look, but she did have pretty blonde hair. This is more of a kind of dirty blonde, but I still think the head sculpt looks pretty good. Obviously it comes with the civilian head equipped in the packaging, but you can pop this off, hopefully without breaking it. I'm not usually that good at popping these heads off. Wow, this is really on there. There we go. So you can see the ball joint underneath. And then we will go ahead and pop on the helmet. There we go. And you can see really nicely done. Now this isn't as translucent because it's, you know, the full helmet underneath. So if I shine the light, you know, it's not translucent there. But it does kind of have a glossy, translucent quality to it, if that makes any sense. And you can see the white part is definitely done in the same gray as the rest. Definitely has a metallic look to it. Very, very cool there. So there is a hinge as well as a ball joint there for the helmet. You do have the butterfly joint, as you can see. You have the normal hinge in the shoulder there. You have a rotation. It's kind of funny, the butterfly joints on mine are a little loose, unfortunately. and that makes trying to get the hinges and the shoulders to work a little precarious, but as long as you're careful with it, it shouldn't be too bad, but it does make me a little nervous. The rotation and especially the butterfly joints are a little loose. Hopefully that's just mine. You do have the hinge in the elbow as well as a rotation there. You have a swivel and a hinge in the wrist. And I don't know if it's just because they've done this mold before, but everything feels a little bit more fluid than usual. Maybe it's the nature of the translucent plastic, I'm not sure. But the joints just feel a little bit easier to move around, which is kind of nice. So you have that ball joint in the torso. You do have an ab crunch, as you can see there, right at the base. Take a quick look at the morpher. Try to get even closer. It's really hard to tell what it is. I assume it's supposed to be... Well, actually, it might be supposed to be the crane. Yeah, actually, maybe that's the crane. It's really hard to tell. It's almost impossible, but I think it's supposed to be the crane. Could be wrong about that. That would be something else. If they're doing the Ninjetti coins, I think that would be another reason to reinvest in this mold. You can see she has the holster here for the blade blaster. Kick out to the side, kick to the front, not too much to the back, and of course it is hindered a little bit by the skirt. You have a thigh swivel there. You have double jointed knees. There we go. As opposed to the elbows, which only have one joint because they're the thinner legs. No, the arms are thinner, so they only have the one elbow joint, and then you have double jointed knees. Then you have a boot cuff swivel right there, and then you have the hinge, and then the swivel in the ankle. So most of the articulation is the same as all Lightning Collection figures, but with female figures, they always do just one elbow joint because they're so thin. I honestly, I'm looking at the Morpher coin again, I really can't tell if it's supposed to be the pterodactyl or the crane. It's probably just the pterodactyl if I had to guess, but it would be cool if it was the crane. Seeing as how I really can't differentiate them because they're so small, I'm just going to tell myself it's the crane. So there you go. But overall, I do think it looks pretty cool. I think the translucent plastic actually came out great. I kind of like the gray metallic sheen to the white spots. Really does make it seem, you know, like a full cohesive metallic armor as opposed to just glitter on the pink parts and then doing everything in white still. So I think that was a smart play. If I could just get her to stand up. No, not going to stand. There we go. All right, so other accessories. Obviously, we have the blade blaster. So we can go ahead and put that into the holder here on the side. I wish that went down a little bit more. It's a little tight, but should be fine. Okay. We have the bow, which also kind of has a bit of a metallic sheen to it. It's not done in white. It's kind of a, I don't know, pearly off-white to give that kind of metallic feel to it, which is pretty cool. But I believe it's the same exact accessory. You can see it's got the notches to combine all the weapons. We have a silver arrow, which will be helpful in defeating Ganon. We have the effect piece, which you can see is actually different. The previous one was all pink all the way down. This one kind of turns translucent clear towards the end, which is kind of neat. I think that's kind of a cool effect piece there. And then she's got 2 extra hands. So she's got kind of a karate chop hand. And then she's got a closed fist. And then, of course, the mystery, I shouldn't say mystery accessory, but the one that they don't want you to know is in the box when you buy it, is the Zeo Crystal. And honestly, there's not much to it. It kind of looks like the cap you would put over like a small pair of scissors or something, so the point didn't get exposed or hit anybody. Honestly, if you didn't know it was in the packaging, you might throw it out by accident. It's, you know, I appreciate it. I love that they included it. And it doesn't really need to do much. I mean, this is what it looked like. This is the Zeo Crystal 1. It has the full circle. That's exactly what it's supposed to look like. I'll be very interested to see what they decide to do if they do everyone comes with their own piece and there's some way to connect them. Or maybe we were talking about this on the podcast recently where maybe they will do some kind of, because there's only 5 pieces, but there'll be 6 Rangers they could do in the metallic armor. Maybe the 6th Ranger will come with a holder they can all clip into, or just come with, a fully completed one, however they want to handle it. But I hope they have some way to connect them all together, whether it's just a full connected version as one separate piece that doesn't come apart, and then the separate pieces, or an actual like little plastic, spine piece that you could connect them in going all the way around. I think would be kind of cool. So hopefully they do something like that. But either way, it's a very cool accessory. I mean, there's not much to it, but it does what it needs to do, and I think it's pretty awesome that they included it. I wanted to do a comparison quick with the normal MMPR pink, just so you can see how different they really are. Now, with this MMPR pink, we did have some problems with the shade of pink not being consistent all the way through. And I would say for the most part that this is consistent. Obviously, the helmet comes off a little darker because it can't actually be transparent because it's, painted on top of a, full helmet piece. So that comes off a little darker. But other than that, I really think the chest, the arms, the legs, they all pretty much look consistent as far as being the same shade of pink because they're all made out of that translucent plastic. And I also wanted to show off real quick with the weapons. You can see it's not much, but that is definitely a more stark white, and this has kind of that metallic sheen to it. And then also you can see that the effect piece really is quite different. It's a different shade of pink altogether, and then it kind of transitions into this clear as it goes through, and that's just the light pink all the way through. So, and then of course, if you wanted, you could take your Catherine head and put it on this. There's nothing to stop you from doing that if you want a regular Catherine Pink Ranger. I mean, you could even put your Amy Jo head on this one. I think Kimberly did use the metallic armor for a little bit before she left, I'm pretty sure. So you could mix and match the heads however you want to pose them. I think they both make sense. So yeah, I think it's really cool. I actually love having this, and I love that they gave us the different head because there were 2 different MMPR pinks. So it's nice to have the customization possibilities. You can have Kimberly's head on this one, you can have Catherine's head on the other one, or mix and match however you want to do it. So I think that's really cool. I didn't show off the blade blasters. I should probably show that off real quick if she'll stand for me. If I bring this one back in momentarily. If I can actually get this one out of here. It appears time has fused this into the holster. There we go. Hopefully it didn't take off a bunch of paint as well. This looks to be pretty much the same. I don't think they metallicized this in any way. So I think that's pretty much exactly the same. I think this is a pretty cool release. Honestly, years of collecting Transformers has taught me it's okay to double dip on a mold as long as the repaint makes sense, and I actually do think the repaint here makes sense. They did a good job. The translucent pink plastic is really cool, and giving the white sections that kind of metallic gray sheen to it instead of just keeping it white, I think was a really smart move. It really conveys the cohesive, like, metallic armor aspect. So I think they did a really good job. The helmet looks great. I love the inclusion of the Catherine head. That way it gives you more possibilities. And honestly, if they want to keep going with these metallic Rangers, I think it would be a great way to get out alternate heads for Adam, Rocky, Aisha, maybe even Billy without his glasses, something like that. I know later on he didn't really wear his glasses, so something like that. I don't know, just to try to mix it up a little bit more. For Tommy, I guess you'd probably just stick with the same head because he kind of had that same hair all the way through, and he was always the White Ranger, so I don't really know what else you could do for him, but I think it's a smart way. They changed up the accessories. Obviously, the figure looks different. They gave us a different civilian head. They included the Zeo Crystal. They put enough in this to make it different enough that it's worth picking up. Even if you already have normal MMPR pink, I think this pickup is worth it because I think they did give you enough added value that it makes it worth it. It makes it feel like its own figure instead of just a sloppy repaint that you could easily pass on. So I really do think that there's a decent amount here that makes it worth checking out. So I recommend grabbing this. Like I said, I believe it's a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, so if you want it, you'd have to go on there and figure it out. But I definitely think it's worth checking out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.